Welcome to Study English Self Preparation. Myself is Susindal. In today's video, I tell you how you can write perfect graph for band 9. The type that I'm going to discuss in this video is pie chart. I'll tell you how you can write pie chart and what are the perspectives of writing pie chart. There are majority of candidates who face problem in writing and they get less score in writing module. So by adopting this rule of writing, I'm pretty sure that you can score well in writing task 1. So let's look at now without wasting of time. So now let's look at, I'm reading this piece of information for you. The pie graphs below show the result of a survey of children's activity. The first graph shows the cultural and leisure activities that boys participate in, whereas the second graph shows the activities in which the girls participate. Write a report for a university lecturer and report the main features and make comparison where relevant. You should write at least 150 words. So we have the two sets of pie chart. So the first one is for boys cultural and leisure activities and second is the girls cultural and leisure activities. So now if you would read this piece of information, so the maximum boys participated in computer games, that is 34%, followed by basketball, that is 26%, and then there was soccer was 17%. So there was least difference in listening to music and skateboarding, right? And the least activity that were enjoyed by the boys is reading. So now let's turn to girls activities. So in girls, the most popular activity was dancing, and it's followed by reading. Then it's computer games and netball. There was a least difference in both, and like in gymnastic and listening to music were preferred at same level. So after reading this piece of information, what you need to do, first step should be paraphrasing of introduction. First of all, you need to design in your mind that how do I need to form my graph. In order to form your graph, you need to write its complete formation. So now let's watch how we can write complete formation for better standard of graph. So this is the formation of the graph. So what is the formation of the graph? First you need to write introduction. After writing introduction, you need to write overview. Once you have written overview, write body paragraph 1, then body paragraph 2. So now let's look at the introduction. In introduction, you have to keep some points in your mind. So what are those points that you need to keep in your mind? Is simply explained over here. You must need to emphasize not to copy the words of the examiner. You need to write your own introduction, right? Means the introduction should be in your own words. So now let's look at the information. I'm reading this information again for you. The pie graphs below show the result of a survey of children's activities. The first graph shows the cultural and leisure activities that boys participate in, whereas the second graph shows the activities in which the girls participate. So now let's look at how we have changed this piece of information. The two pie charts compare the survey of boys and girls participation in various free time activities, free time and cultural activities. The data is calibrated in percentage. So what changes we made? We changed the pie graphs. So we had the two graphs, so we written the word two pie charts. Compare. Why we have used the word compare? Compare means we have been comparing the information, boys information with the girls information, right? So now the comparison we are making with the girls and boys, so we need the word compare. The two pie charts compare the survey of boys and girls participation in, various means different, free time means leisure activities, and cultural activities, the data is calibrated in percentage. It is important to tell how the data is calibrated. After writing this piece of information, it is important for you to emphasize on some points. There are many points that you need to consider in your mind before proceeding to write your final graph. So now it's time to write body paragraphs. So before writing body paragraph, what are those points that you need to keep in your mind? So now let's look at. So the point that you need to keep in your mind is writing overview. So after writing overview, you need to decide how can I write the overview in a well-balanced way. So the overview is over here. Overall, the most of the boys are highly inclined towards games, while significant ratio of girls opted dancing. What does it mean? Overall means summary. The most of the boys are highly inclined. Highly inclined means majority of the boys. Inclined means interested in, right? So highly inclined towards games, while why we have used the word while has been used to describe the another part of the statement, while significant ratio of girls opted dancing. So after writing this piece of information, you need to keep some another points in your mind. So what are those points to remember? So what are those points to remember? So the points that I'm telling you to remember are quite important. If you would not keep these points in your mind, eventually you would lose score. So now let's turn. What are those points? So the points are quite and simple. The very first thing is, do not copy the words of the statement while writing. Do not copy the words of the statement while writing. Do not copy the words of the statement while writing. So it's very important for the students not to copy the words of the examiner. I've repeated this sentence many times because this is one of the most gray area where you people lose score. Next is make relevant comparison. Make relevant comparison. What does it mean? It means quite and simple. It means you need to compare the information where it is necessary. Do not make comparisons unnecessarily. Next is never write only one paragraph for the complete graph. There are many candidates who commit mistake while writing body paragraphs. So it is advised you do not write one paragraph for the complete body paragraph. Next is there for the complete graph, sequence of information must be kept in mind while writing. So what sort of a sequence of information must be kept in mind while writing? So it's very important for the students to keep a clear sequencing, right? So data should be organized in a logical way. So what does it mean, data should be organized in logical way? It means is quite simple. Means if let's take an example, the maximum number we had, that is 37%, right? So after 37%, if any number follows something like this, 35% and 26%, the first we have written the sentence 35%. Let's take an example. Majority of the boys participated in playing games, that is 37%. Let's take an example. Another feature is 32%. 32% is listening to music. Let's take an example. And the third preferred activity is basketball. Let's take an example. That is 26%. So after writing 37%, if you are writing 26%, it is wrong. This is not a logical way to write your graph. So what is a logical way to write your graph is to organize it in a logical way. So after 35%, 37%, you need to find the lowest number after 35%. If the lowest number is 35%, 5%, so write 35, then 26%. So logical paragraphing or logical organization is very important. So now let's look at the another important feature, that is use proper linking words and phrases. There are majority of candidates who are quite well in writing task 1, but still they use unlimited number of linking words and phrases. Guys, if you would write unlimited number of phrases and linking words, so it would give a clear message to the examiner that the candidate has overused cohesive devices. So you need to balance your cohesive devices. How you can balance the cohesive devices? That is another burning question. So I'll tell you in the next clip that how you can write the linking words in well proper way. So now let's look at body paragraph 1. So in body paragraph 1, so now you have seen the body paragraph 1. So now we will talk about the body paragraph 1. In body paragraph 1, I have used many expressions and idioms, as well as there are many points that you need to consider in your mind. So you need to see every information very clearly, and you need to emphasize on the information that how it is being represented, right? Similarly, you need to practice something like this in order to get good band score. So now let's look at, it is noticeable from the graph just more than 1/3 of boys played computer games. So what is more than 1/3? You will tell me what is more than 1/3 in the comment box. So just more than 1/3 of boys played computer games. 26% preferred playing basketball. Furthermore, now the furthermore is a linking word. Furthermore, more than 110. So what is more than 110? Tell me in the comment box. More than 110 of them like to do skateboarding, and soccer was preferred by 17% of boys. A very less proportion. For what we have used the word a very less proportion, comment me in the comment box, because this would give you a clear understanding. A very less proportion is used for a very less number of the graph. So like a very less proportion of boys opted to read books at 2%. Surprisingly. So why the word is surprisingly? If you see any common feature in both the graphs, likewise we have boys and girls activities. If you see any common feature in boys and girls activities, you need to write such expressions and phrases. Surprisingly, listening to music was an activity which was equally enjoyed by boys and girls at 10%. This is how we have used the expressions and phrases as well as the fractions. So after writing this piece of information, there are some points that you need to consider in your mind. So what are those points? The point is use synonyms. Guys, it is recommended to you all use variety of synonyms in order to get good band score, because the examiner looks for rich lexical resource. As you know, lexical resource is an important part of your writing marking criteria. So it's important to emphasize on using synonyms. Next is use variety of sentence structures. So use variety of sentence structure. What does it mean? You need to write complex, compound and simple sentences. Next is use linking words properly. So use linking words properly. What does it mean? There are many students who write overuse, means please avoid overuse of linking words. No doubt linking words are important, but it does not mean if you would write enormous linking words in your writing, it will make your writing quite poor. So please avoid using less number of linking words and use linking words where it is necessary. So now let's look at the expressions from the body paragraph 1. I've taken up some of the expressions for you for the body paragraph 1. So what are those expressions? The first is, it is noticeable from the graph. It is the expression to start the graph. Just more than 1/3. Tell me in the comment box what is more than 1/3. Then while why we use the word while. It is used for the another piece of information. Furthermore, more than 110. Tell me in the comment box what is more than 110. Why I'm asking you these fractions? This will make you quite strong to use it for another graph if it is required. Next is a very less proportion. So why we use the word a very less proportion? Tell me in comment box. Next is surprisingly. When we see something common in ABC and XYZ, means when we see something common in two graphs, so that's why we use the word surprisingly. So now let's look at the body paragraph 2. Body paragraph 2, switching to girls' activities. The most popular interest among girls was dancing with 27% and reading at 21%, unlike boys. 11 and 15% preferred gymnastic and netball. Interestingly, playing computer games was not much famous among girls as compared to boys. This is how we have written body paragraph number 2. So what are the expressions that we have used in body paragraph 2? So the first expression is switching to girls' activities. So why switching to girls' activities word is used? Because now in this clip, in this body paragraph, we are talking about the girls. So the most popular. Why the word most popular is being used over here? Tell me in the comment box. Unlike. Why the word is unlike? Tell me in the comment box. I've used these words for you people, but you will tell me all their meanings in the comment box. Next is interestingly. Interestingly, why the word interestingly is being used? Means it is again used just like as surprisingly that we used in earlier in the first body paragraph 1. So now let's look at the another piece of information. After writing this piece of information, you have written, I told you how you can write introduction, I told you about overview, I told you about the body paragraph 1 and body paragraph 2. Now the question comes. What is more required in writing task 1? So what is more required in writing task 1? So now let's look at in this next clip. So the next is required graph formation. The graph formation, after writing the graph formation, you need to write introduction. So once you have written introduction, then overview, then body paragraph 1, then body paragraph 2. Now the question is about conclusion. Is conclusion is required, right? So is conclusion is required? It's again a question. My dear students, it is advised you, if you have written overview of the graph just after introduction, and if you are writing again conclusion for the same graph, you will be penalized. You have to be careful in this aspect. If you have written overview for any graph, kindly do not write summary for the same. Overview means summary. The student write two things. First they write overview, then they write summary. If you have written overview, do not write summary. If you have not written overview, then you can write summary. Conclusion is required only when you have not written overview. If you have written overview in your graph, so please do not write summary for the same. If summary you want to write, do not give overview. But I would recommend you give overview, then afterwards write body paragraph 1, then body paragraph 2. So obviously the summary is not required. So that's all about from my session today, and I'd create more videos for you for another type of graphs and for writing task 1 as well as for listening and reading. So please share your comment in the comment box, and please tell how's our teaching feedback and give us a rating out of 10. I'll be very thankful to you, and please keep supporting us. If you like our videos, please comment, share and subscribe our channel if you have not subscribed. Thanks for watching IELTS Doctor. Thank you so much. Have a nice time. Thanks.